Hey everybody, it's Hater, and from what we can tell, Bungie has patched the AFK farm on the forges. If you try and do it now, you're just going to not requeue and go back into it. For those who don't know what the AFK forge farm was, you would drop your light below 750 or lower if you can, and you would just queue into the random queue forge and just sit there. You would go to sleep, go make a sandwich or something, go somewhere else, go outside, do just anything. And you would come back in about like 5-6 hours, you would come back to a full postmaster and inventory of Umbral engrams. With the forge being patched now, people are looking for a new option to farm Umbral engrams. And from what I can tell so far from the past few days, there's two major options. You can either do contact or you can do nightmare hunts. Of the two, nightmare hunts are what you're going to look to do. We'll get into nightmare hunts later, but for now we're going to talk about contact. There are a couple things to note about contact, and that is you have to wait for people to be there since contact isn't super easy to solo. But once you get those people for contact, it's actually quite easy to get to the heroic boss since you can duplicate the bloom like how you can duplicate the balls in Pit of Heresy. On top of that, the boss of the current week as of recording this is the Monstrosity, and you can just lay a well down with the new Falling Guillotine Sword, Oppressive Darkness, and just destroy him before you can even let him regen health. Now, the only real way you're going to get a lot of Umbral engrams from contact is if you've leveled up your Prismatic Recaster up to the point where you can get Contact Specialist up to 2, maybe 3. I have it currently 2 as of recording this, and it's like a guaranteed Umbral engram per run on Heroic. That could also just be luck, I don't know. Now that the way that you're going to be heroicing the Contact public event is as you're doing it, eventually, building up moats will spawn something called a Bloom of Darkness or something like that. You'll see in the bottom left of your screen that darkness is coalescing somewhere and a beam is going to be shooting out of the ship. You're going to follow the beam. There's going to be two major, not even major ads, shielded ads, and then a champion ad, either Barrier, Unstoppable, or Overload is going to spawn there. You kill that and then you stand on the pad. After standing on the pad for a little bit, you're going to be able to capture the bloom and take it back to the bank. But before you put it in, you're going to want to use your interact button, and while you're using interact, you want to swap your weapons, and you'll drop the ball and dunk it at the same time. As I said before, if you're familiar with duplicating the balls in Pit of Heresy, then this is up your alley. Now, one of the tricky parts is keeping the bloom out of other players' hands, which I've had multiple times where I'm copying the bloom and then someone immediately yoinks it after I dunk it and just slams it in without even thinking. Either way, if you made it that far, you've spawned the heroic boss, just DPS it down and kill it. After that, you get your roll for an Umbral engram. If you've gotten the upgrades on your recaster, you have a pretty good chance of getting one. There's also a chance that during contact, you'll get a focused engram, which are different. They'll be like if you roll on the recaster for specific ones, except that they're random and drop from the contact event. They also work the same way as the recaster's versions. They're just random on what kind will drop. Also, every week you get a armor focused one from completing the powerful gear version of it, which is just doing the contact event. Now we're going to move into nightmare hunts. Off the top of my head, there are 3 nightmare hunts that I can think of that are worth the most of farming. Those are Gaul, Skolas, and the Gate Lord. You want to try and do those on the easiest difficulty possible because it doesn't seem raising the difficulty increases the chances of Umbral engrams dropping. And just those 3 in particular are fastest to farm. If you can get a good run on any of them, you'll cut it down to about 2 minutes and 30 seconds easily, or less. Especially if you have 3 people running Falling Guillotine and you can skip the invuln phases on the nightmares. Now, the one key major difference that nightmare hunts have over contact is that you can get altered element from completions, which is the material you need to turn Umbral engrams into focused Umbral engrams to farm. In about 10 nightmare hunt runs, which is like 30 minutes, I got 5 Umbral engrams and 200 alter elements, compared to the 9 Umbral engrams I got from contact. In conclusion, it's just better to run Nightmare Hunts, because it's twice as fast. Due to the fact that 10 Nightmare Hunts equals out to about 30 minutes compared to a whole hour of 10 runs of Contact. Now, what I found most useful to bring into the Nightmare Hunts is Wither Horde, a moderately decent AR weapon, and a Falling Guillotine. Try and go into them as a Void subclass to use Oppressive Darkness on your class item. But if you're a Warlock, you can still try and bring Well of Radiance for survivability. If you happen to not have Falling Guillotine, Temptation's Hook, which is the arc sword from the Recaster, is still viable. Once you initially land into the Nightmare Hunt, your goal is to just kill the nightmares as fast as possible and ignore the basic adds to get to the boss as fast as possible. The build that I'm taking liking to the most while running Nightmare Hunts is being used in the video in the background, which I use Verity's Brow with Bottom Tree Nova Bomb for Devour. Overall, good luck on the Umbral engram farm, and remember to rate, comment, subscribe, and if you have any questions, ask in the comments. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.